Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. I'm really excited about today's guest, Ahmard Vital. He's a motivational consultant, international speaker. He's also a ministry leader, coach, and author. I love bringing guests such as Ahmard on the show to inspire, motivate, help the audience get some tidbits of wisdom. And I'm happy to welcome Ahmard to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, doctor, for having me on.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us, kind of your story, how you got started, what your business does, and we will get right into the discussion.
Well, there's a lot that you just mentioned in my bio, and it's just a long list of things obviously gone on over years. But I like to keep it very simple, especially for podcasts, and say, I'm just a young man from a small town in Texas with a pen in his hand and a dream. Writing is the foundation of everything I do, whether it's consulting, whether it's keynote speaking, coaching, all of the different things, curriculum building. All of it starts with the fact that I'm a man who likes to sit down and get in the lab and put pen to paper. And so everything spins from that. Obviously, I'm an author as well. But really, I'm just a young man who wants to inspire people, wants to make sure and especially help youngsters kind of level up in their life and get some purpose and get some understanding of what it's going to take to be successful in life. And I like to kind of start on that ground floor because obviously working with the youngsters is part of the future, but I also deal with adults as well. But I like to kind of hit it from both sides from the standpoint that we're all going through some kind of season and transition in our lives. And I think the past 3 years have proven that we're actually going into a new season and different things. And I like to be on the front end of helping individuals be able to do better things in their lives.
Very powerful, and it's a very motivational why. And it's kind of like, when I mentor younger generations, it's very fulfilling. You're investing. You may not see the fruits until maybe 18 years later, but, making a positive difference in the younger generation, especially the way our world is going these days. So I love this. And you're basically helping others get a leg up, a grip on life using faith-based principles, integrity. And one important thing is sports, because really I've seen sports as a metaphor of life. And so talk about that.
A lot of the attributes, because I've been a sports writer since basically about 12, 14 years old. I've been writing for newspapers since I can walk. And sports writing was kind of my entry level to getting into the business, but also getting into writing professionally. And over time, whether it was when I wrote Awaken the Baller Within or just doing my sports coverage through Fox Sports, Scout.com, and Rivals and different other places with the college football recruiting process, I started realizing the correlation between sports and life. I wrote an entire book that was about and for football players. And then after I got done with it, I realized this book isn't about sports at all. It's written in sports language, but it's not really about sports. Because what do you need in sports? Leadership. I think we can use that in life. Teamwork. You have an organization. You need teamwork. Discipline, responsibility, altruism. Respect. All of those different things. A brotherhood. Right? There's all of these attributes that I think pretty much every CEO could use. Every manager can use. And so when I say sports is a metaphor for life, meaning you can take what's on the field and use it off the field, because what I learned from writing Awaken the Baller Within is these young men were very talented on the field. They were having a lot of success. They all played Division I ball. A third of them went on to play in the NFL. But I've noticed, because I think only one of the close to 100 young men I interviewed for this study, only one of them is still actively playing ball, but the rest of them are successful in everything else they're doing. They're fathers. They have families. Most of them are entrepreneurs and have businesses. They're successful engineers. They have careers, right? They're doing life at a level that when we look at it and say, okay, this is the American dream. This is success, right? And it's bigger than just the money. They have the family. They have the career. They have the service. They're giving back to their community. They are faith-based. All of these things are wrapped into one. And so sports as a metaphor for life just puts the idea that the attributes that get you successful there are attributes that are successful for life.
Yeah. I love that. And the one thing is, kind of sports, and like I'm not good enough to play professional, but one thing is talking about entrepreneurs is they always value their body. Like the best entrepreneurs, they work out, they eat right, they sleep, they meditate, you drink water, and that's as a fundamental. Like if they're lazy in their body, then they become lazy in their business, and they become lazy in their relationships and their diet. So it's kind of like sports as this pillar, and kind of as a way to create discipline and be successful. So I love that. I know it's like kind of like, I think like less than 1% actually play like pro, but it's kind of like as is a metaphor. You have ups and downs, and it's got all these good attributes. So one thing that talks about is you are a faith based man, and which I think we need more of these days. Just not depending on, we're not advocating any religion, but we're talking about faith and integrity and principles and morals. So how has faith fueled the work you currently do, your work and service in your ministry? Talk about how that helps you work with the younger generation.
Oh, man, it's been a total game changer for me. And I've always been, I always jokingly say I was baptized in the Baptist church many years ago, and my religious experience has been sort of a roller coaster. But having faith, and especially I'll say in the last 5 years, because I think COVID woke a lot of us up from the standpoint of how all of those things went down. So my faith was deepened during that time, even transition from one church to another. But it's everything to me, my Lord and Savior died for my sins, and I'm here to represent what the word is telling me to do: serve, love, be grateful, right? It's not about you. This life you have is bigger than you. And so I've taken that from the standpoint of service, and gratitude to me is a foundational pillar for life. And just like you were talking about earlier, whether you're talking about exercising, whether you're talking about leadership, you talk about mindset, I, I've tried many other ways, and I don't really know any other way out other than to have a strong faith in God to be able to be successful. Because I've tried the other ways, and I was successful for a season, and then it all came crashing down because I thought it was all about me. And then when you realize that you're here to serve, you're here to make life great for others, and in part that is the seed planting in the soil, and you see it bloom. Like you said, 18 years later, you'll see the fruit, some of the fruits of your labor, or you may not be allowed to see it at all, but you're on the right path because God will reveal to you the good work that is being done, and knowing that you're looking to make the world a better place. And we do need more of that. Society has told our young people to do it on your own, and don't have a church community. It's like you're your own man and woman, and that's just not true. No one lives life alone. I mean, you've seen a great deal of success in your life, and I bet you would say, you know what, I could point to about at least five people in your life who was like, helped you get to where you are, because life is not meant to be lived alone. Life is meant to be lived in a community. And we got to get back to that. We got to get back to where we lean on one another, and we're open and we're humble to be able to help and serve one another, from the family unit all the way to community outside of there, whether it's at your church, your community center, your school, your place of employment. You need to connect with other people and allow them to pour into your life. And so for me, the service part of my life is the fuel that gives me I don't want to say the energy, but it gives me the push to do what I do professionally, because I know that the service side, I know that my God-given calling over here is taken care of. And that fulfills me to go out and earn the resources I have to come take it and bring it back to the service. So this is just one gigantic, beautiful circle of, you serve first, you serve from where you are, you give from what you have, not from what you don't have. You give from what you have. People are always waiting to get more, but they never give from where they are. They never serve for what they have. They're not tithing money or tithing time. They're just trying to think about themselves. And when you say, you know what, maybe this is not about me, let me go do some volunteer work. Let me join a church and serve in different ministries. Let me go over here and feed the homeless. Let me go over here and work for any of the nonprofits that are out there. when you make that a part of your life, like a requirement, watch how life changes for you. And for me, it was a game changer. And working with the youth has so many different benefits, not only honoring my father, but it also brings me to a place to where I can pour into another generation and see how I can teach them what I didn't do when I was coming up and get them to maybe make a few less mistakes than I did. And that's very fulfilling.
Yeah, very, very powerfully said. It brings up memories, in my, when I was first starting out, in the trenches, 2008 and 2016, low points. And then I, feeling bad and sorry for myself, basically forcing myself to go to the food shelter and feed the homeless and hungry and volunteer my time and kind of give back. And it's exactly what you said. It's not about you, or it's about something bigger and bigger service. So, and I love that. Kind of talk about this. We'll talk a little bit about your books in a little bit, but talking about working with youth and teens and keep showing up on the field of life.
Yeah, keep showing up on the field of life is the way I was signing my books when Awaken the Baller Within came out, because as we shared, sports is a metaphor for life. Football, baseball, basketball, whatever sport you play is a metaphor for life. So when I say keep showing up on the field of life, just like you show up for practice, you show up for the games, I want people to wake up with purpose, on purpose every morning when they wake up, right? You need, your game plan. You're a doctor, I work in marketing, I'm an author and a speaker or whatever. And it's like, we all have a planner, we have a game plan, right? We have lesson plans. We have a to-do list. We have appointments, right? So keep showing up on the field of life, meaning don't go into the game without your playbook, and your playbook obviously needs to, for me, I would suggest your playbook be found foundationally in faith, right? For me, it's the Christian faith. For others, it can be what of their choosing, but you want a faith-based foundation. And then it's like, what are your goals for the day? Keep showing up on the field of life. Show up ready, show up prepared, right? And so when we put that out there, it always brings some bullet points under that. It's like, how are you showing up? Are you showing up grateful, right? Because you can't pursue further when you don't live with a sense of gratitude. Showing up, the only way more can happen is if you're grateful for where you are. And see, sometimes people take grateful and slide in contentment. No one is saying to be content, but at the same time, if you have 2 sandwiches and you want 4, well, bless the 2 sandwiches, and then we can work on other things. But when you're just like, 2's not enough, well, what are we doing? You get, and so keep showing up. I want people to show up and be excited for life, right? I work with a lot of people, and they're just like, a lot of times it's a season that's gone on way too long. And it's like, what is it that you want? What do you want to get out of this experience called life? And some people don't know. And the beautiful thing is that I like to sit across from them and say, hey, why don't we find out where there's some wins in your life? Yeah, I understand. There's a pile of dirty clothes in your room. The kitchen's on fire. The kids are screaming. One of them says they hate you. Your job is bearing you down. But where's your win? Because see, if you can't find a win somewhere within life, you're going to show up defeated before the game even gets started. And that's where I want people to look at gratitude. I want people to look at love. I want people to look at service. It's interesting, Doc. I had a minister friend of mine tell me one time what he tells people to do the first time when let's just say they got laid off at their job. The first thing he tells them to do? Go volunteer somewhere. Interesting. Like you think like, hey, get on LinkedIn, get on Indeed, go out there, get your resume tightened up. He said the first thing you need to do is go volunteer somewhere. And it took me a while to sit back and take that in. I was like, And no one's saying that you don't still need to do the resume stuff, but it's like, go be altruistic. Go give.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I love that. And then reminds me just it's kind of interesting. Just be altruistic, and just first thing is just go and give. And you're activating the law of attraction and the law of abundance, and you're operating from a mode of abundance as opposed to scarcity. So, and I love this book that you talk about. You talk about how did the book Awaken the Baller shape your career, and kind of talk about how your service became a ministry, and close it out with how people can contact you, follow you. If you, I know you're a motivational speaker as well, so kind of tell people how they can reach you.
Yeah, so Awaken the Baller Within was written at a time when I was going through very, very good highs and very, very low lows. I bought this house. I bought this house at the age of 29. So, you think like that's the American dream, you bought a house on your own, you're doing your thing or whatever. And I remember I was in a relationship. So, you get the house and it's just like, let me find someone who can help me do this thing called life, and I was in a relationship and it was going well, or so I thought. And then out of nowhere, like literally within like a week or two of me buying this house, she called me and was just like, yeah, we're done. And I'm just like, hey, can we talk about it? No, we're done. Is there a reason? No, we're done. I'm like, I believe like we could at least have a talk about this. Nope, we're done. Hang up. And so I went into a total meltdown because this was the first relationship I'd like taken like really serious. And so I was kind of on a really dark path and I had no way to get out of it. And I remember, I'm actually in the house the house I'm talking about where the meltdown happened. I'm still in this house right now. I'm in the office of that house. I remember being in my guest bedroom and I was sitting in the corner and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing with myself. And I remember having a conversation with God and I said, God, I don't know what's going on. I have no answers. I said, I tell you what, though, I don't really care about life right now. However, if you wake me up tomorrow, I'll do things more your way and be on a path that's going to do some new things. And so obviously he woke me up. And I remember because at the time I was working for Fox Sports and I was doing a lot of football recruiting work. And so I was working with athletes. But to get myself out of this hole, I developed spiritual, personal relationship, the different types of books, all of these different things that were needed in my life, reading the Bible, reading Think and Grow Rich, reading Who Moved My Cheese, all of these different books that helped me get out of this hole. And so I was like, but wait a minute. Like I have this new spiritual development and I love my faith, but I also love sports. How can I merge the two? And so Awaken the Baller Within, I wrote it in the same way Napoleon Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich. I was like, can I write a manual for young up and coming football players that helps them get through these different things in life? And so that's where it ended up going. And so Awaken the Baller Within was written. That would have been like 2011. And, it kind of went from there and it ended up being paid kind of the athlete's life manual. And it was good times. And so it focused on dream building, goal setting, and a relentless pursuit for all of those things I just mentioned. And it just ended up kind of being the staple that kind of catapulted me into some of my other books as well. But that was a foundational book and it did pretty well. And it actually launched my speaking career as well. So that was a great time in my life. And I don't think I realized the impact that book made, but here we are. And, I look back at that time as a pivotal moment in my life to be able to do some great and amazing things. And with that, I mean, I'm always open because I'm still working in the youth ministry right now in my church in the Woodlands, Texas. And so when we talk about service, I devote hours each week to the betterment of young men from teenagers up to young adults. And so people can reach out to me. It's ahmardvital.com on all the platforms. So, it's just basically my name for YouTube. I mean, it doesn't matter. And then my website is Ahmard Vital. And like, there's no aliases. You won't find a whole bunch of extra things out there. It really is just that. But I have committed my life to working with young people and specifically very, very intently with young men because of the aspect that I want to create more young men who are leaders, guys who, have doing what you're doing, doing whatever they do for a career. I just want them to do it to the max. Go start great families and build what built this country on. This country was built on families. This country was built on leaders, and I want us to get back to that because we've lost touch with some of those things. So I'm committed to trying to right the ship as much as I can within this lifetime that God has given me.
Yeah, very powerfully said, and I love that. And regardless of what religion you subscribe to, we're all spiritual, but I feel like the moral fabric of society is not there anymore, and just like basic tenets of character, honesty, integrity. We need more of that. So keep up the work that you're doing, and all of Ahmard's resources will be in the links and show notes. Be sure to check out his books. They're on Amazon. I'm going to check them out as well, and leave a 5-star review and follow him on all his socials. He's on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and connect with him there. And with that, thanks so much for coming on to the podcast.